Hello everyone and welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be talking about Maesuma Top 14.5, one of the three majors that is happening this weekend. Two of them are happening in Japan. The other one is Let's Make Moves Miami. But this one is a little bit more interesting because you're actually going to have Skyjay invading. And for our top 16 seeds, you're going to have Kome, Senra, Snow, and Rocky in 13th. Level 1, Doramigi, Ryuo, and Masa in 9th. In 7th, you're going to have Jogabu and Skyjay. 5th is Rarekun Kananabe. 4th is Dio. 3rd is Asimo. 2nd is Yoshidora. And projected to win the entire thing is Akala. Now, I know the main appeal of this event, for me at least, is going to be Skyjay here, and I'm sure a lot of you share that same sentiment. It's always cool to see invaders coming down to Japan and just seeing how they're going to fare against the competition. We actually do have a little bit of a teaser because Skyjay ended up going to a local. He was able to get wins on Sabotan. I believe it's Yonpi, but I could be wrong. Karage, and then once in the top 8, he ends up losing to KYON, who I would say is the best Link player in the world right now, and then Akala on the loser side. Can't really feel too bad about that one. He was able to take a game, which does give me a little bit of confidence, but he is projected to play KYON in the main bracket. So there's definitely a possibility that Skyjay can go down the losers bracket incredibly early on. And I'm not even going to pretend. Skyjay's bracket is awful. It is so bad. He's got Doramigi next, which is not an unwinnable matchup for Incineroar. Well, for most Incineroars, it's unwinnable. But for Skyjay, maybe he can pull it off. But considering that Doramigi beat Akala at this local, he's in pretty good form. It's not looking super great. Now, we'll get back to Skyjay's part of the bracket in just a bit, but let's start at the start with Akala being our top seed, and he's likely going to be playing against Rocky and then Jogabu and Masa. Now, for Akala, Rocky, he's definitely going to be the favorite in that one. Rocky is a Steve Kazuya player, for anyone that doesn't know, and Akala is not only the best player in the world, he's also the best player in the world by far at the Steve Ditto, and he has never dropped a set to Riddle's Kazuya, so both of Rocky's characters there are not looking super great. Unless he's got a tertiary, does something crazy, I would definitely expect Akala to come out on top. Then you're going to have Jogabu Masa. Now, these two players have never played before, but Masa does have a 2-0 record versus Karage. Now, I would say that Jogabu is the better player, but still, Karage is insanely good. And even though they are different Falcons, he's shown proficiency in the matchup. And because of that, I'm going to say that Masa is able to take that upset. So we're going to have Akala versus Masa. Now, they played twice before. You're going to have Akala winning both their encounters, and I am going to project him to win this one. Falco's got some interesting tools in the Steve matchup, most notably that Frame 1 Reflector can have some massive utilization, but it hasn't worked out for Masa in the past. Not impossible this time around. I do think Masa is good enough to beat a player of Akala's caliber, but based off the history, I'm going to give it to Akala. Our next top seed is going to be Dio. He's likely going to be playing against Snow and then either Kananabe and level 1. Now for Dio Snow, the two players have never played before. He does have a winning record versus Now, but also that's only one encounter, and Snow and Now aren't the same player, but showing proficiency in the matchup. And I would say that Snake Mario is an even matchup, so there's not a ton of factors that make me want to swing it into one person's favor. I'm still going to give Dio the benefit of the doubt, though, just because he looks really impressive at Kagura 11. I thought he was playing exceptionally well there, so if he's able to play like that at this tournament, I would expect him to take this set. Kananabe level 1. It's kind of the same thing. You do have a bit of history between these two players. They have traded sets. It has been 6 months, though, since their last encounter, so this doesn't really mean a ton, especially considering how much better these two players have gotten in those 6 months. Like, they're both on their A game right now, and same thing for Dio. I'm going to give Kananami the benefit of the doubt because his performance at Kagura was incredible, so I do expect him to take that one. And I also think that Kananami can pull off the upset over Dio. Fox Snake is a little bit of a weird matchup because the characters just absolutely destroy each other. Snake kills Fox in 2 interactions, but you don't really get many opportunities to have interactions because Fox is just all over you. You have the Reflector for Shine. You just have a lot of really interesting tools, and I think if Kananabe is able to stay on top of Dio, like he probably will because he's one of the best Fox players in the world, second best Fox player in the world, and the reason for that is because his speed is incredible, and that's something that Snake definitely struggles with, so I believe that Kananabe will be able to trap Dio down and be able to take this set. Our next top seed is going to be Yoshidora, and he's likely going to be against Senra, and then Skyjay or Doramigi. Now, for Yoshidora Senra, I would heavily favor Yoshidora to win this one. Jigglypuff just does so bad into Yoshi. Her main gimmick is edge guarding, and all of a sudden, Yoshi just jumps out of your edge guards, and now you're just kind of screwed. It's just a really tough matchup, so definitely expect Yoshidora to win that one. Skyjay, Doramigi, we've kind of already talked about this, so I'll be brief. It's a really tough matchup for Incineroar, as well as Min not being a super common character in NA. Maybe in Mexico it's a little bit more popular. I'm not super confident about that, but regardless, it's just such an uphill battle that I would expect Doramigi to win it, and I also think that Doramigi is going to pull off the upset over Yoshidora. They've only played one time before, and it was at Doramigi's pop-off tournament, and he was able to win that, so I think this is going to be the time where Migi, he harnesses how he was playing at Maesuma top 13. Maybe it's the Maesuma top blessing, and he is going to be able to get into the top 8 through the winner's side. And our final top 8 qualifier in the winner's side is going to be Asimo as our top seed, and then he's going to be likely against Kome, Rarekun, and Ryuo. Now, Asimo Kome, it is overall a winning record for Asimo, but he did lose their last encounter. It was 5 months ago, so maybe not the most useful information, but definitely the potential for Kome to take the upset. I still would favor Asimo to win this one just because Kome is a naturally inconsistent player. I just think Shulk is a fairly inconsistent character, but if he's able to reach this point in the bracket, and if he's playing well, I could easily see him taking that set, but I'm going to give Asimo the benefit of the doubt. Then you're going to have Rarekun versus Ryuo, and these players have played before only one time, and it did go into Rarekun's favor, but it was fairly recent, a game 5 set as well, so extremely competitive, probably could have gone either way. I'm still going to think that Rarekun will win it because he won the first time, but again, very, very coin flippy matchup there. And finally, you're going to have Asimo versus Rarekun, and I do think that Rarekun will make this upset. As you can see, they have a recent encounter, 2 recent encounters, because this one's at Maesuma top 12, and you are going to have Rarekun winning both of these sets. I really do believe that Rarekun is in contention for the best Luigi in the world. He is so good at this game. It's kind of tough to tell because Luigi just doesn't go to a ton of stuff, but I feel like if him, Rarekun, and Waka were all consistently competing, I could see Rarekun being the best, and I do think that he's going to top 8 through the winner's side. And y'all know the drill at this point. We're not going to be doing the losers bracket because it's so insanely fickle, and I've taken my players that I think are most likely to top 8, specifically 20 players that I think are most likely to top 8, and I've given them the percentages. You're going to have the confidence here. These are just the people that I picked to go through on the winner's side, and somewhat confidence here. You're going to have Dio, Yoshidora, Asimo, and Skyjay. These are the people that I think are going to top 8 through the loser side. Specifically, I think Dio is going to top 8 through this little segment. I think that Skyjay is going to top 8 through this segment because I think he's going to get upset by Migi, and I would favor him versus Jogabu. I think that Asimo is going to top 8 through this segment, and I think that Yoshidora is going to top 8 through this segment. You're going to have the could happen tier with Jogabu, Masa, Snow, Ryuo, and level 1. I could honestly see Jogabu being moved up to the higher tier, but only 4 people can be in these top 2 tiers because, you know, only 8 people can get into the top 8. But Jogabu, he is so insanely good in this game so that it feels a little bit weird that he's down here, but y'all have already heard the reasoning, so I won't say it again. You're going to have the perchance tier with Senra, Kome, Rocky, Rarekusu, Money Right, and 33 parent blocks. Senra, I do think that his bracket does matter a little bit just because I don't think super highly above. I mean, she's just not a super great character, but Senra is such an explosive player that if he gets even a couple bad matchups, I do think that he can overcome it. Kome is definitely someone that I'm really interested in. He's just got such a high ceiling that he hasn't been able to match for a very long time, so this could be the tournament where he just explodes. Literally any tournament could be the time where Kome finally returns to that peak form and pops off. 33 parent blocks as well. He hasn't been doing as well in these past couple events, but his ceiling has been super impressive this year. All these players have been really impressive this year, and I can see all of them in the top 8. And finally, you're going to have Link's Awakening Kyon. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, he was really impressive at that local, and he does have Skyjay again in the winner's side of the bracket, so there's definitely a possibility he makes that upset once again and then goes on a bit of a run. Link is a character that I have kind of given up on. I used to be pushing Link a lot, but after a certain amount of time, I'm like, you know what? The theory stuff, it's starting to wear off. But if Kyon is able to make the run here, which I think that he can do, I'm back on the Link train, baby. And we have reached the top 8. We're just going to be doing the projected seeding as per usual, though it really doesn't change who I think is actually going to win this event. And for our winner semifinals match, we're going to have Akala, Dio, and Yoshidora Asimo. Now for Akala, Dio, you do have Akala winning their only encounter at Umabora SP9, and Dio was looking incredible at that event, may I add. And you do have Akala dropping a set recently to Hurt, and Hurt showed me a lot, and probably every other Snake player in the world, a lot of very intricate stuff in that match. The way he was using up tilt and back air specifically were incredible. So maybe Dio is able to incorporate a couple of those things into his game plan. I don't think it's impossible that he can beat Akala because Snake does have tools for Steve, but I'm sure that Akala has been practicing the Snake matchup because, you know, he doesn't really like losing. Dropped a set to Hurt, gonna make sure that never happens again. So I'm gonna say that Akala ends up taking that one. Then you're gonna have Yoshidora versus Asimo. These guys actually have a pretty long history. You're gonna have Yoshidora winning a majority of their encounters as well as their last encounter, but as you can see from the last 4, they've been trading sets back and forth, kind of a coin flipping matchup. I am going to say that Yoshidora takes it just because a majority of the time he is coming out on top, but it should be an extremely competitive set at the very least. In loser sevens, you're going to have Jogabu versus Kananabe and Skyjay versus Rarekun. Now, Jogabu and Kananabe, they have played a handful of times, and a majority of them are going to go Jogabu's way with a 3-0 at Delta 5 as well, being their last encounter. So I am going to expect him to win this one, even though Kananabe has been looking exceptional. Jogabu's also been looking pretty good besides that little blemish at Terra. His resume has been fairly clean, and I do think that he's going to be able to make that upset. Then you're going to have Skyjay versus Rarekun. Now, this is an interesting one. I don't think I mentioned it earlier on in the video, but Rare-kun has a grab bag of characters. Luigi, I would say, is definitely his best character, but Donkey Kong and Steve are also definitely options. I would favor Skyjay versus the Donkey Kong. Luigi is a bit of an interesting one because you do have Skyjay with a pretty decent record versus Waka, a lot of reps in it, which is more important to me. He's showing that he knows the matchup at least. So if it is the Luigi, I would also expect Skyjay to take that one. And if it's the Steve, again, I'm going to say that Skyjay takes it. As we saw from that little local that I showed earlier on, Skyjay was able to take a game off of Aquila, so he is showing proficiency in the Steve matchup. And Rare-kun, even though he has a bunch of characters to pick from, I think Skyjay does fairly well into all of them, and because of that, I'm going to pick him to win. In the losers quarters, you're going to have Osimo versus Jogabu and Dio versus Skyjay. Now, for Osimo Jogabu, these players have a handful of reps versus each other, 10 sets played between them, and it's kind of tough to predict matchups like this, especially when they're so back and forth. You have Jogabu winning 3 here, then they trade sets, then Osimo wins 3. It seems like it's Jogabu's turn to win 3 once again, and because of that, I am going to predict him to win it, but it's a fairly coin-flipping matchup, and their last 2 sets both went to game 5, so I don't really know how it's going to unfold, but going to give Jogabu the benefit of the doubt. Then you're going to have Skyjay versus Dio. Now, Skyjay does have a lot of reps versus Alandis, some good, some bad. He wins his only encounter versus Apollo Kage, and Incineroar is definitely a character that can bully Snake in the disadvantage. He just hits so insanely hard. Pretty much every single move that Incineroar has is going to knock Snake out of Cypher, and you can also just side B him out of Cypher, which is incredibly scary. So the disadvantage is definitely a struggle, and you have Skyjay with a lot of reps versus Snake. Now, I can't guarantee you that Dio has no reps versus Incineroar, but I can guarantee you that he hasn't had experience versus a Skyjay Incineroar. Skyjay's Incineroar is so much better than every other Incineroar in the world. And that's not a shot at any other Incineroar player, but look at the results, look at the gameplay. This guy's just so insane with this character, and I really think that once he gets his hands on Dio, it's going to be wraps. So our top 4 is going to be Aquila Yoshidora in the winner's side and Skyjay Jogabu in the loser's side. Now for Aquila Yoshidora, I would definitely expect Aquila to win this one. I do got to give Yoshidora some credit. He's the second best player in the world at beating Aquila. He's beaten Aquila 5 times. For reference, number 1 is Spargo, who has beaten Aquila 6 times. So a little bit more confidence there than most people, but also Aquila has won their last 4 encounters. I know it looks like their last 3 here, but this is the winner's finals and then the grand finals and the reset of the grand finals at the same tournament, and then Kagurabi 10 and Kagurabi 11. So all of the recent encounters have been going Aquila's way, and I expect this one to be the same. Of course, Yoshidora can do it. He's done it on a multitude of occasions, but I wouldn't favor him. Then you're going to have Skyjay versus Jogabu, and now you do have Skyjay with 2 reps versus Andrik. One of those reps he's going to be winning, and the other one he's going to be losing. So I honestly am not super confident on who is going to win this one. I will say that I do think that Falcon beats Incineroar, but I'm still going to predict Skyjay to win this one because he does have some reps versus Andrik. And again, same point I made earlier on with Dio. I really don't think that Jogabu is going to be ready for an Incineroar on the level of Skyjay. I think Skyjay is going to be catching a lot of people off guard this tournament because he is just so different. Now, I'm sure Jogabu has been doing his homework. I'm sure all of these players have been studying up so they don't lose to Skyjay, but it's a lot different actually playing Skyjay than watching a VOD, because when you're watching a VOD, you can understand, yeah, that's a bad decision. Don't do this, don't do that. When you're in a match, Skyjay puts the fear of God into you, and I think Jogabu is going to fall to that this time around at least. In the losers finals, you're going to have Yoshidora versus Skyjay. Now, again, kind of like Jogabu Skyjay, I'm not really sure how this one is going to unfold. You don't have Skyjay with any reps versus Meme, at least any reps that I could find, and Yoshidora not going to have any reps versus a top Incineroar player, especially one of Skyjay's caliber. I do think that Yoshi beats Incineroar, and I'm going to say that Yoshidora takes it just because you do have a lot of ways where you can just abuse Incineroar off stage, and also Yoshidora's movement has just been so impressive. That's by far the best thing about him. Yoshi isn't a particularly fast character, but when he's in Yoshidora's hands, he just looks lightning quick, and Incineroar is definitely a character that when you're playing fast, he can struggle, so I'm going to say that Yoshidora takes it, but in the grand finals, it don't really matter if it's Skyjay, if it's Jogabu making the upset over Skyjay then beating Yoshidora, or if it's Yoshidora. I think that Aquila is going to win this tournament. Not really that crazy of a take, but what can I say? This guy is just incredible at this game, and I thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. The support has been absolutely unreal as of late. If there's a player I left out, something I got wrong, or if you just want to say hi, leave a comment down below. Be sure to sub while you're down there, and I'll see you all in the next one. Bye-bye!